everybody, it's Lechianus. Welcome to Natural Lechianus Setup Part 1. So this setup will be for my Lechianus gecko, my Pine Island Lechianus gecko, Titan, when he's full grown. He's not yet up to size to be in this 18 by 18 by 24 cage yet, but he soon will be because he's growing at a pretty rapid pace. My big plans for this tank is to have a clay background and have a little water feature in the front, and I'll explain why in just a second. I've read quite frequently that Lechianuses are prone to getting fungal infections, and that can happen from having constantly wet substrate or wet backgrounds, or just a cage that's being too heavily sprayed. They can get fungal infections. That's not a good thing. But they are also from the rainforest, so you have to keep the humidity up. So I thought a good way to keep the humidity up without having the entire cage soaking wet is to add a small water feature right in the front where that gravel is. You can see I'm going to add a small pond. I think that'll be a good way to keep humidity up without totally soaking the whole cage. So I think that'll benefit him. I also said that I was going to make a clay background. In the past, I've made great stuff backgrounds out of spray foam, and that really wasn't very fun to make. It's definitely held up, but it was pretty difficult and I did not enjoy doing it. So I decided that for this tank I'm going to make a clay background. And you might be wondering, that might contradict what I just said, I need to keep the cage not wet all the time, but clay has to be wet pretty constantly to stay intact. So what I've done is I've got a piece of tubing, like foam tubing, and I've placed it on the back and I've put a little slit into it, and I've tested this out and it trickles down really well. What I'm going to do is fill this up with water, and then the water should trickle down the background from the back, so the front part of the clay background isn't wet, and adding to the effect that his cage shouldn't be wet all the time. So I feel like that will be pretty effective. I'll still continue to test it to make sure everything's going to trickle fine, but I'll just cover that up with the clay, and I'll leave that little opening, and then I'll water the background and make sure everything stays intact without his cage being soaked. I thought I'd give you a closer look of the inside of the tank. I've decided to use some egg crate drainage layer right here, so that should be pretty sweet. I've got some PVC right here to hold it up. You can see in the back right there, and as a border from the pond area into the drainage area, I put a piece of cork bark, and I have this large rock that I plan to put some moss on, so that should be pretty sweet. And here's some pieces of wood I've gathered. This isn't all the wood I'm going to use, of course, but this is just what I have as of now. Some cork and some wood I found outside that I'm going to treat so it's safe. And what I'm going to do is buy a show grade or like an extra large cork hollow, because Lechianuses, they love the cork hollows and it's necessary for them to live. And I'm going to buy a very large one. I'm going to put probably in the back left corner. And I'm probably going to order that from NEHERP. You should totally go check out their website. I'll leave a link in the description. And that should look really nice. So recently I've gotten pretty interested in growing my own plants. If you've been a follower of my channel for a little while, you've noticed I like to propagate and grow my own plants. Saves a little bit of money. So I've realized that all the plants I have are, strong enough and look really nice to go into Titan's adult enclosure. So I'm going to save about $20 to $30 just by using my own plants that I've grown by myself. So that's pretty awesome. I've got Sansevieria right here. Two pothos plants. This one's more of a solid green color. It doesn't really have any patterning on it, and this one has some more white blotches, and they have different textures on the leaves. And these are the Sansevierias I grew myself, the smaller ones. And I'll show you some bromeliads that I'm going to put in his. So what I've got here is the bromeliads and pillow moss that I plan on using in his terrarium too. I plan on using just about all the plants I have, so it should look really nice. I've got some pillow moss right here, a bromeliad, and this is kind of my makeshift thrown together vivarium that I made with all my extra plants that I've grown and stuff like that. So I've got a bromeliad right here. It's actually doing pretty well, so that's a good thing. And I've got a Sansevieria right there. and I have a pothos growing right there, a little pothos cutting. And I probably use this piece of wood in his cage too. So I'm going to use a lot of stuff that I've already got, and then I'm going to buy a good bit of stuff too. But it's going to look awesome. So everybody, that pretty much just sums it up. I'm going to start with the background first. Then I will set up the tank and work on the pond. But I'm going to start with the background and get all my big pieces of wood in. And then I'll work on the bedding and planting and stuff. But be expecting a part 2. And I'm really excited about this project and hope you guys are excited about it too. If you have any questions, please put those in the comments below. And thanks for watching, and see y'all later on Country Geckos. Bye. Thought I'd show you a quick clip of Elmo in all of his glory. Pretty big animal we got there. It's pretty sweet.